Hi, this is Kelly with Four Legs Up Barbecue, Kelly's Barbecue Seasonings, and K4L Drum Cookers. Today in this video, we're going to talk about using lump charcoal or all-natural charcoal briquettes. Just a little bit of a disclaimer here. I do use B&B charcoal. I am also sponsored by B&B charcoal. However, I was using B&B charcoal long before they came along as a sponsor, because it's really good charcoal and I can get it locally. I'm sure after B&B's no longer sponsoring this, I'll probably still be using it because I haven't found anything that works any better yet. So it's a really good charcoal. It burns good and hot. It's nice dense charcoal. We get good flavor off of it. It's just really good stuff, and the price is right too. So there are some really good charcoals out there, other brands. This video, we're not comparing different brands. We're not weighing charcoal out and getting it all over the place and trying to compare how much is in a bag on different brands, all that stuff. We're really just interested in the difference between the lump charcoal and the all-natural charcoal briquettes. One of the first things to consider when you're trying to decide what charcoal to use is, can you get it locally? Does your store stock the lump charcoal and not the briquettes? Then that pretty well answers your question. Do they have the briquettes and not the lump charcoal? There again, your question is pretty well answered. You know, again, there's a lot of good charcoals out there. You know, find one that you can get locally and use it. Don't be going somewhere and buying some fly-by-night charcoal that's going to taste nasty, that you can't get lit, or there's a myriad of other things going on. They're all going to cook, they're all going to light and burn and cook a little bit differently. So if you find a good one that you can get locally and stay with it. What is lump charcoal? Well, basically it's when we take wood in whatever form it is, whatever flavor it is, burn it in an enclosed environment such as a concrete bunker or something like that, with a low amount of oxygen to it. So we kind of starve the fire. But what that does is burns off the sap, the moisture, the impurities, some of the minerals, a bunch of that kind of stuff, but leaves us with lump charcoal, or basically carbon. It's going to burn really good and hot, makes a good fire, makes a nice clean fire, and that's what we get. It's pretty simple, really. They've been doing that for centuries. So what is the all-natural briquettes then? Well, those are the small stuff, the fines, what the charcoal company doesn't want to use to put in the bag. So they're going to take that back in, run it back through, grind it up, and press it or extrude it back out into a charcoal briquette. That's all it is. So a charcoal briquette is nothing, an all-natural charcoal briquette is nothing but lump charcoal over here that's in a briquette form. Now B&B does run all-natural, nothing but the charcoal, the lump charcoal in their briquettes. Some others may have some cornstarch or some vegetable proteins or some other stuff in it. It's probably not a big deal. I wouldn't worry that much about it. As long as it's on an all-natural briquette, we can go ahead and use it in our K4L Drum Cooker. Let's get on to what the advantages of each of the lump charcoal and the charcoal briquettes are. So, the advantages of lump charcoal. Lump charcoal is going to burn really hot because it's basically nothing but carbon. It's also going to burn up pretty fast as compared to a charcoal briquette or wood, because it's nothing but carbon. It's already had all that other stuff taken out of it, but through the charcoal making process. Very low ash, again, through the charcoal making process. There's no impurities. There's very few impurities to drop out of it. Lump charcoal generally is pretty fast at a temperature change. So if you need to go up or down for whatever reason in your K4L drum cooker, if you're going to reverse your mistakes and get that temperature bumped up, the lump charcoal is probably going to react a little bit faster. As with any lump charcoal, the size of the pieces can be fairly variable. You know, here we've got some pretty big pieces, some pretty small pieces. I know most charcoal companies do as good a job as they can trying to keep the small, fine stuff out. But every time you move a bag, you get a chance of breaking some of this charcoal up. So not all of that is always the manufacturer's issue. But one thing that highly variable piece size does to us is that can make our fire, our temperature vary throughout the cook because of the big pieces, small pieces, different oxygen pockets, different amounts of room for oxygen in that charcoal basket will cause some temperature changes, probably. So that's just one of the things you got to kind of look for. Lump charcoal is easier to reuse. This would be a reuse pile. It's still lump charcoal. So I take my charcoal basket out, shake it out, put it back in with whatever good stuff I have left without trying to get too many fines in it again, and off we go. Advantages of our all-natural charcoal briquettes. These things burn hot too, because remember, they're lump charcoal. They probably burn a little longer. They're more dense than the lump charcoal, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. There should not be any more ash in at least these charcoal briquettes from B&B because there's no fillers in it. Should be about the same. I think I do get a little bit more ash out of the charcoal briquettes though. It's not enough to even worry about it. It's probably a little bit slower response time to the temperature changes. If you need to go up or down, whatever it is, that's a pretty dense piece there to try to make quick changes with. It's more of a uniform size all the way through it. So once we get that in our charcoal basket, the size and shape of each one of those is the same. If we don't get any fines in there, we've got the same oxygen passageways throughout that charcoal basket. So I think the charcoal briquettes tend to burn a little bit more uniform than the lump charcoal does. When we talk about reusing the charcoal briquettes, they probably don't reuse as good because as they all get hot in that charcoal basket, they tend to break down. The heat, it makes the briquettes expand. Then they start breaking down we lose a lot more of the fine stuff. I still will go ahead and shake these out and reuse it. Again, just watch you don't get too much fine stuff in there. So density equals burn time in our charcoal. The denser the charcoal is, the longer it's going to burn. In other words, the more weight of charcoal that I can get in my charcoal basket in the bottom of my K4L drum cooker, the longer my burn time is going to be. Particle size makes a big difference. These are all uniform. I can get more weight of all natural charcoal briquettes in my charcoal basket as compared to lump charcoal, usually because of the variability in sizes. That one's not going to burn as long, probably. Now, so with all of that, let's move on to some application. Let's take all this information and apply it to how you're cooking in your K4L drum cooker. So let's see what happens when we dump the lump charcoal into our charcoal basket and the charcoal briquettes into our charcoal basket, and see how much difference that density makes. Here we go. Alright, so I've got 2 charcoal baskets here. They actually weigh very close to the same. 10 pounds, 11 ounces. This one's 10 pounds, 10 ounces. Okay, we're going to call them the same. There we go, we are teared. How much of our lump charcoal can we get in there? That would be probably how I would normally fill it. In fact, a lot of times I don't even use that much because I know this will run for a good 8 hours at least. 15 pounds, 6 ounces. Remember, this bag holds 17 pounds of charcoal. There, it's all in there. Try to keep that dust out as much as you can. 17 pounds, 12 ounces in that charcoal basket. So I can put that whole bag in and it will burn for a good long time. In fact, I don't think I've ever run a full bag in a charcoal basket and timed it to see how long it would run. So let's move that over there. Let's see what we can do with the lumps. There's all big pieces. Oh yeah, big pieces. Get the strings out if you can. That's just twine. Okay, I would not normally fill that charcoal basket that full. Probably something like that. I can get a little bit more in there, but notice that's 11 pounds. That's it. Again, because of the large pieces, you saw all those large pieces that went in down at the bottom, and not getting a lot of small stuff in, changes our density, and that also changes how this thing burns. Okay, density wise, it's not going to burn as long as the charcoal briquettes, but we're still going to get 6 hours out of this basket, just because it's really good charcoal anyway. The other thing you're going to run into with this basket is, because of the big chunks in there, it's highly variable, so your temperature control is going to be somewhat inconsistent. It's probably not going to be enough to worry about. It's not going to bother anything, but you might go out there one time and it's down to 280. You might go out the next time and it's up to 310, 315. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just be cautious or be mindful of what's going to happen. So from here, if I was actually burning, if I was going to a barbecue contest, I would not like to take this. I would actually take this out, break this up, break the big pieces up, and sift out a bunch of the small stuff. So I would have a much more uniform size. So let's go outside and we'll show you how we do that. Okay, so let's show you how I go about sizing our charcoal to get a much better, more consistent burn in that charcoal basket. Dump your bag of B&B out into a bucket. Then I went and got a chipping hammer from Orscheln's, any farm supply store over in the welding department. That's what they use for breaking, doing a little bit of chipping on their welds, but it works really good for breaking up big chunks. See? I won't get them. Yeah, that's about kind of right. That one's kind of really no right or wrong answer here. About right there, going back into our, that's our good bucket. I think there's a couple of pieces here. The biggest problem with doing this is, one of the biggest problems with doing this, you end up with a lot of fines. Breaking that up. This stuff, you don't want that in your charcoal basket. Good. And so that's how we size and sort our lump charcoal. So we are back in from sizing and sifting our lump charcoal. Let's see how much of that bag we can get in our charcoal basket now. We got the scale out. We got it zeroed. Okay, so we're getting 11 pounds, 2 ounces this time. You noticed as I was pouring this out, a lot more uniform size though. Yeah, there's some small in it, but not very much. The weight that we got in this charcoal basket, the density, it's not as dense as the briquettes. The briquettes are pressed together, so they're going to be more dense. But the advantage to sizing and sifting and sorting your lump charcoal is it will be a much smoother burn. Again, you notice the sizing of what was going into the basket was really fairly uniform, especially for lump charcoal. So it's going to burn fairly uniform. That's the only way I will take charcoal to a barbecue contest anymore, once I figured that out. So yes, I can go ahead and peek this, get some more in there. But you notice still, it's only 13 pounds. So our lump is going to give us a longer burn time as compared to the charcoal briquettes are going to give us a longer burn time over here as compared to the lump. But this is still going to burn, now it's probably going to burn 8 to almost 10 hours, something like that. Again, it's a good dense lump charcoal. We got the basket overflow, which is fine, you can do that. So with that, so now you've seen the difference between lump charcoal for your K4L cooker and all natural charcoal briquettes. The all natural charcoal briquettes are nothing but lump charcoal, just ground up and pressed back together again. The advantage with the briquettes, they're a denser product. There's a much more uniform size going into your basket. This will burn longer than the lump charcoal. I've got 17 pounds in here. I've only got about 13 pounds in the lump charcoal basket. The charcoal briquettes are going to burn a little bit smoother. You're not going to have some of the temperature variations you get. I'm not going to get very much temperature variation with this one since I sized and sorted it. Now coming straight out of the bag, nah, that other one wouldn't bother me. Working on it at home. So there you go. About the only other real difference is reusability. As we saw earlier, the briquettes are a little bit harder to reuse versus the lump charcoal, which just shake it out and use your pieces over again. So that's what we got. Thank you much, and we'll see you on the next video.